Every year these posts come up of people complaining that dyers, why don't dyers just buy all the yarn and dye it up and then sell what they've done in August or September? And it comes up every year. And yeah, I just wanted to talk about it, if you don't mind. Hey everyone, it's Hannah, and I just wanted to post a quick video today sharing why many indie dyers, some indie dyers, choose to sell their advent calendars, yarn advent calendars, so early in the year. I know it's crazy, we're talking about 2025 advent calendars in April, and I've been posting teasers since mid-March. I know. So I just wanted to share with you why we sell them so early, because I know it seems ridiculous. So to the uninitiated, a yarn advent calendar is a countdown to Christmas from the 1st till the 25th of December. You often, people do advents differently, but you often get 24 20-gram mini skeins in the advent, and sometimes you get 100-gram skein on Christmas Day, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you can buy a complementary or contrasting colour to go with the advent, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you get some extras in with the advent, sometimes you don't. Everyone does it differently. You can also get weekly ones where you get 4 or 5 100-gram skeins or sock sets, and it's just something to count down to Christmas, and you can make fun projects with it. There's different ways of doing advents. Jess of Skein in the Stitch has a fabulous video talking about how to choose your advents, and she does touch on why she sells her advents so early, and I basically watched it and wanted to copy her, and also saw the post on Craft Snark. Every year these posts come up of people complaining that dyers, why don't dyers just buy all the yarn and dye it up and then sell what they've done in August or September? And it comes up every year. I would love nothing more than to buy all the yarn in and dye it all up and then sell you ready-made advent calendars. The difficulty with that is that I am a one-woman show. This is my full-time job, and that is expensive to do. Last year I was pregnant and did buy in most of the yarn, not all of it. I did it in sort of 3 separate batches I bought the yarn in. So I think I bought, well no, because I finished dyeing them. I think I must have bought all the yarn in. It was expensive. It's a lot of money. It's at least £4,000 or £5,000 for me. It must have been 5 for me to buy all of those advent minis in. I did do it in 3 batches though, which did make it feel less painful, but I mean it's still ultimately the same amount of money. It's expensive to do, and to dye them all up and not know if you're going to sell them all. Oh, because then you're just sat on a bunch of advent calendars, and then what are you going to do with them? What are you going to do with them? Sell them for less? Discount them so they're out your house, then you've lost money. You could also think, well, do fewer advents, Hannah. Well, yes, theoretically, yes. But advent calendars is a huge portion of my yearly income. So I don't necessarily want to do fewer advents because, like I said, this is my full-time job. And that advent income makes up a big portion of my salary. So like I said, last year, pregnant, I bought in all the yarn and I dyed most of it before I started selling them, because I sell my advents in early May and then I ship them in October. I had my baby in early July, and therefore I didn't want to be dyeing yarn, 1 with a newborn, 2 whilst incredibly pregnant, because there's quite a lot of heavy lifting and bending involved in yarn dyeing, especially because I have an oven. So bending to put trays in the bottom got a little bit difficult towards the end of my yarn dyeing. I managed to get everything done by the end of May, which was actually, thinking back, it was mad that I was still dyeing yarn at the end of May. And then I could take the next many months. I took 6 weeks off with my baby, and then I was packing advents whilst wearing a newborn, and we managed to make it work. But I will say that was the most stressful. I have a whole video about me doing Advents with a newborn if you're interested. But that was the most stressful part of Advents last year, was buying all the yarn in and dyeing it up, not knowing if it would sell. And I did a very different theme to what I usually do. Luckily, I did manage to sell them all. So exciting times. So as Jess explained in her video, a lot of people like to ship their Advents in October. Some risk it in November. I wouldn't personally feel comfortable doing that. I like to try and ship Advents by mid-October because I ship a lot of Advents internationally, and the thought of them getting held up in customs so the person wouldn't have their Advent calendar for December the 1st. Very stressful. So you've got to work backwards from when you want your shipping date to be. So mid-October, you've got to work backwards. If I want 2 weeks to pack them all, usually I can get them done in a week, but I'm going to have a baby running around. But usually I can kind of bash it out in a few days, and they're incredibly long days and I'm incredibly sore and exhausted by the end of it. So it's probably best that I did take 2 weeks to do it, to be honest. So that means that everything has to be ready to go by the end of September. That means that I need to have bought in all of my packaging supplies. I need to have dyed up all of the yarn, twisted all of the yarn, got all my extras sorted, packed anything that I need to pack to also go in the Advents, and just got it all ready, laid out. My blue IKEA bags full of yarn ready to go. End of September. My husband is self-employed and is a baker, and the summer he doesn't have many markets on, so we do try to go away and spend more days together and, you know, take a bit of time off before the Christmas rush, because he has a horrific Christmas rush. It's not horrific, that sounds awful. It's very busy. So we try to have a bit of downtime before it gets busy again, because it ramps up pretty quickly. So I don't want to necessarily be dyeing all the time. Also, on very rare occasions, we do have heat waves in this country, and I won't lie, dyeing yarn in a heat wave is very unpleasant. So I like to give myself a bit of leeway. I ideally want to be done dyeing yarn by the end of July. That way it gives me 2 months to twist everything, because twisting yarn takes a really, really long time. It's incredibly boring. I won't lie. I watched a lot of Grey's Anatomy last year twisting mini skeins. I'm excited to see what this year's twisting watching is going to be. We'll find out. It's often Gilmore Girls, because then I start to get like autumn feels and it gets all exciting. Plus there's so many episodes to watch. Although I'm a bit sick of starting from the beginning. So that means that I need to start dyeing them pretty soon after I sell them. I am very, very fortunate that in previous years, I don't know about this year, but in previous years, I have sold out of my Advent within the day that it launches, which is ridiculous. I fully am very grateful of that. I have a very limited number that I do. It's still quite a big number. I did 140 last year and I'm aiming for the same this year. And I start dyeing, or I will be starting to dye shortly before I start selling them this year. That is the plan anyway. Because I do everything on one base, I make it much easier for myself than some other dyers who offer a range of bases, but it's fine because everyone has their preference. If people don't want to buy mine, that is absolutely not a problem. There are plenty of other people who offer beautiful Advents. So not only are we working on the yarn Advent calendars after we sell them, we also have a bunch of other stuff that we need to be working on as well. A lot of people still do markets that you need to make stock for. I will still be launching collections and dyeing for that, making things for shop updates. Even though Advent is a large portion of our income for the year, or at least for me, it's not my whole income for the year. Therefore, I do need to keep working on other bits alongside Advents. So I need to make sure that I schedule in Advent dyeing days along with non-Advent dyeing days. And yeah, you need to give yourself time. Otherwise, you'll be rushing at the end and you will produce an Advent that you're not proud of, that you feel rushed, and then so burnt out at the end. But then it's Christmas, so you need to still be producing stuff. Oh my goodness, so stressful. I will also say that a lot of you lot forget that you knit when the weather is hot. You forget that, you know, it's actually a perfect time to work on an autumn jumper or a jumper for autumn as the weather warms up, because then it will be finished by the time it's autumn, which means that you're not buying yarn in the summer. A lot of yarn dyers experience a dip in business in July and August, specifically, sometimes June, but specifically July and August. Although August it starts to pick up again because people get excited about autumn, which is wild because in my head, August is summer, at least in the Northern Hemisphere. But yes, people tend to not buy as much yarn in July and August, which means income is lower, but it also means it gives us plenty of time to work on these advents. So we can work on a collection to launch in September, October, September usually, for autumn and whatnot. It's so we have time. So we're not rushing, we're not panicking, we're not sending you something that is haphazard, that is rushed, that is not up to, basically not up to what your expectation is. Advents are a huge investment, and I'm worried every single year when I send mine out that people are going to hate it, because by the time I send it out, I hate it. And then I put it away, and then I get it out in December and open it up along with everyone else. I'm like, oh no, it's actually really nice. I just got sick of looking at it because, especially last year, I worked on it since March. I worked on it from March to October. Even though I took 6 weeks off with my newborn, I was still thinking about my advent calendar the whole time and how much I needed to do. It was intense. So yeah, by the time I ship my advents, I don't like my advent anymore. And then I have a couple of months off looking at it, and then I look at it again, I'm like, oh no, it's actually quite good. I do actually like it. I was just fed up of looking at it. Finally, the reason that I like to offer it so early is because then it gives people the opportunity to do payment plans, because it is such an investment. Asking people to fork out 150, 170 quid up front all at once plus postage is a lot, especially this day and age with, you know, the current climate, let's say. So I like to offer a payment plan, and that just, yeah, offering it in May means that I can do the first instalment in May, the next instalment in June, the final instalment in July. I give people till the end of August to pay, and that gives me then a month and a half to chase people if I need to chase people, sort out refunds if I need to, and all of that fun stuff. So yeah, that is the final reason I like to offer Advent so early. And I won't lie, there is a little bit sense of pressure, isn't the right word, but it is the word I'm going to use, from other yarn dyers who sell their Advents earlier. And I'm not talking about yarn dyers who start selling their Advents in December for the following year. I do think that is balmy, I won't lie. But I'm talking about people who start talking about them in early March. That's when the rumblings start to happen. The first person posts and the rumblings start to happen, because a lot of people offer their Advents in April. So they want to give people enough time. And I won't lie, I do get, and this is a personal thing I'm talking about. I can't talk for other dyers because I don't know. I'm not them. But I do get sometimes a little bit nervous, anxious fear that I want to put my stuff out there around the same time as everyone else, even though I sell them like a month later, because I have the fear that, one, the theme that I've been working on and thinking through is going to be posted by someone else, and then it's going to be like, well, I can't do that anymore. Got to do something else now. Which, I don't know if I would do that. I don't know. It's not happened yet. Touch wood. Or I also get the feeling that maybe my customers or potential customers who would like my Advent are going to see someone else's Advent and buy that first before I've even shared what my theme is. If I waited to share my theme in April, I'd worry that maybe, I don't know, I would lose a potential customer, because it's not, some people buy multiple Advents. As someone who has had multiple Advents, because I've done swaps with people, a bit stressful, can't keep up with multiple Advents. I've got a little collection of advents happening upstairs that I really want to work through. And yeah, it's just, I sometimes get worried that I'm going to lose potential customers to other dyers who start selling their advents sooner. Which this is very much a personal, this is a personal one. But yeah, that's another reason I start talking about advents so early. I don't yet feel the pressure to sell them any earlier. I still sell them in May because, right, I tell you why I sell them in May. I sell them in May and ship them in October because that is within the 6-month claims window for a lot of cards. That is why I sell them in May as opposed to any earlier. Just a little, just a little thing about why we start selling yarn advents so early, because it does feel ridiculous and does seem ridiculous, but the reality is it's not ridiculous, and I will be starting to dye mine up soon. My life is going to become mini skeins for the foreseeable future, what with the new Patreon tier and then advents. My life is mini skeins. Anyway, I hope you found this video interesting. If you did and you would like to ask any questions, please feel free. I will do a full video talking about my advent calendar coming up very soon. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. Let me know if you've got any questions. Leave them in the comments down below. Have you got your eye on anyone's advent this year? I've had a sneak peek of a couple of people's themes. I haven't actually seen their actual advents yet. I'm very fortunate in that I am friends with yarn dyers, so I do get sneak peeks of advents, and then I'm like, why didn't I buy it? But yeah, I'm so excited to start dyeing my yarn advent. I feel like the colours for my advent this year are so me. They are my favourite colours to dye, and I think I'm going to have a blast dyeing it. Oh, I'm jazzed. I'm really jazzed. Anyway, yeah, let me know if you've got any questions. Leave them in the comments down below. And with all that being said, feel free to subscribe. I post at least one video here every week. We've just got a bonus one today. What a treat. And yeah, I hope you're well. Thank you for sitting and spending some time with me while I have a bunch of mini skeins soaking, ready for me to dye the chai latte tier minis. And I will speak to you all soon.